What habits have you developed? Because I think people may not have access to the news you do, but I think people can definitely relate
Yes.
to what you're saying of
Absolutely.
like, Jay, I'm just seeing all the news on my phone. I'm connected to the TV. I'm hearing things from friends and family. Like I think a lot of people can relate to you saying, I feel like I know too much.
Yeah.
What are some of the habits and practices or rules that you've developed that have really become your saving grace? Because like you said, to you, it's not just a news update, it's a folder, it's the person calling, it's a private meeting, whatever it may be. You're, in one sense, it's even more extreme because you're so privy to the actual reality as opposed to a news channel, which is part of reality.
One of the most important practices is deliberately turning that off for a moment or more than a moment. And I encourage that. I think our phones are sort of the regular man's equivalent to what I just described. We're too connected all the time. We're reading too much. We're taking too much in. We are constantly being fed by images, and that's become the norm. And we've been sort of marketed that that's cool. That's what we should want. But our brains are not. We are not that sophisticated a species.
Yeah.
We have not evolved enough to be able to take in that much information on a constant basis. And our kids certainly are not prepared to handle it. I think that plays a huge role in the higher rates of depression and suicide among young people. They've got to let their brains rest from the noise. Even though, we're all trying to fix everything, everyone needs a break from it, right? So I'm very deliberate about knowing that I can't take all that in, and we're getting it in such a sort of misinterpreted way, right? We've got, confirmation bias. We're reading only what we already believe, and I know I have to be very deliberate about, understanding that a lot of the information I'm getting isn't even complete. I do filter, and then I develop habits that shut my brain off to thinking, right? I wrote in The Light about knitting, which is a habit that I developed, a hobby that I developed over quarantine.
And that's because it makes you so present and engaged.
It shuts your brain down and allows your hands, the motion, to take over. And in that way, I found that it is meditative, right? And that's what meditation is. It's quieting your noisy mind. And some of us can't connect to meditation, but I think we need it. I think biologically, we need to shut that part of ourselves down to get a rest from it. And I find that knitting does it, exercise does it, learning something physical shuts my mind down. I mean, I've taken up tennis, and there's nothing that shuts my mind down than running after a green ball and trying to figure out, move your feet, hit the ball, follow through. It's like, that shuts my mind down. For the hour or 90 minutes that I'm doing that thing, I'm not worrying. I'm breathing, I'm outside, I'm letting the sun hit my face. Those habits and routines of creating something, right? And we do that less and less now. It's like everything is all in the mind. It's all technology. But I think we need something where the thing I love about knitting is that at the end of it, I've made something. It's just satisfying in a very different way from problem solving or analysis. Right? Building, creating, painting, drawing, fixing, putting something real into the world that came from your own hands. Something small, that's why I talk about the power of small in the light we carry, because a lot of times our brains are trying to do the big fix. And that's when we feel hopeless and we're tired, because most of us don't have the power to fix anything at a big scale. But we can focus on the small things that we have control over. Making a sweater for your daughter, helping mentor a child in your neighborhood, loving the children you bring into the world and making sure they have everything they need. That's where change happens, right? And when I do those kinds of activities, I meditate into that power, right? That small power, that there is satisfaction from hitting a stupid ball over a net, and getting a good swing out of it. It's like, it makes the day better because I served the ball right, or I finished a scarf.
Yeah. No, you're so right. And I'm so glad you're using the word shutting down and this switch to analog. I remember at one point, and I think everyone can relate to this, you wake up to your phone. I'd be brushing my teeth, I'm on my phone. I'm eating breakfast, I'm on my phone. Just your phone is now tethered to your hand in every activity that you're doing throughout the day. And so your brain is never shutting down. And the interesting thing is, we all know our phones need a reset. They need an update. They need a software refresh, or whatever it may be. And I think I saw somewhere that the human brain today has to process like 74 gigabytes worth of information a day. A day. And I was thinking, I remember when your phone doesn't, it's a lot.
And when you think about it, this is a brand new technology, right? When we got into the White House, we had BlackBerries, right?
Wow,
social media wasn't a thing, right? All of that came into being in the 8 years that we were in the White House, and it's just gone off like a rocket ship. We don't evolve that quickly. Humans, it takes generations for us to evolve. We haven't adapted to this new media. We haven't